Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be going back to Thunderstone Quest. This time we're going to be looking at the Clockwork Destiny expansion. This is the most recent, one of the two most recent expansions for Thunderstone Quest that actually came out last year. So I'm not including the two Kickstarter expansions that are in the process of fulfillment and being delivered. They're still in production at the moment. So this is Clockwork Destiny, and then Shifting Sands was the name of the other one. So we'll take a look at that one next. But what I wanted to do was kind of show off some of the cards that come in this expansion, and then I'm going to actually go through a little gameplay off camera because the beginnings of this game are not something that you necessarily need to see or want to see while I'm slowly building up my deck. And then kind of more end game here, we'll show off some gameplay with the actual cards so you guys can see the combos. But I just wanted to cover some of these cards. This is a setup for the third and final scenario in the Clockwork Destiny expansion, and I have also set it up for Barricades mode, so you can see Thavros' lair here is set down at the bottom of the dungeon. So what's really interesting about the enemy cards or the enemy decks in this game is that they are very the kobolds here are pretty standard, but the other ones are these spirits, basically fire, water, earth, things like that. And then a lot of the other stuff is very animatronics. These guys are the automations, and then they have the mech beasts, basically. These guys, the CCOV gang, are kind of a mixture of these nasty things that appear in the story mode a lot. But these guys, especially the ones down here, but the gremlins too, which is the other level 2, do a lot of rolling of d6s. This one actually says you roll 2 d6s unless you have a card with Thunderstone in its title, and unless you have a card with Thunder, you add a third d6. So 3 d6 rolls unless you have a card with Thunderstone in your title in your hand. Pretty much the same thing with this guy, which is pretty intense. So you have no idea what you're going up against, and technically this room here is supposed to be refilled blindly, which means you really don't know what you're getting. In order to conserve space in my setup here, I just split the decks in half and some of the sides, so this deck will just remain face down until I go in there. But I roughly kind of understand what I'm going against. I'm going against double d6 roll, so it could be anywhere from 2 to 12. Very tricky to get a feel for. So that's kind of the enemy cards that you're going to see. Let's look at some of the marketplace here. So the two spells you're going to see are not really my favorites of the group. You'll actually get to see, I'll show off one of my favorite spells since I'm playing a campaign. This is the third scenario. In the first scenario, when I was successful in that scenario, I took this one particular spell that I really love and helps out a lot in these other scenarios. But these two are both chaos spells, which pair up with, we can go ahead and talk about Liss here. Liss is a chaos wizard, so her basic form is very basic, but as she gets further and further down, you start having to take a card from your deck and put it back, or take a card from your hand and put it back into your deck. Then you will shuffle up your deck, draw 2, maybe 3 cards, and you're hoping that one of them is either a chaos spell or something with Thunderstone in its name. So Thunderstone Rod, Elixir, or if they are, you get to draw one. Further on, you get to draw all of them. If not, she actually is going to kind of hurt herself. So she's like this loose cannon that can almost allow you to replace a card in your hand with something that's probably better. Like you can chuck a starter card back into your deck, but you got to hope that you have filled your deck with chaos spells and Thunderstone items. So we'll talk about a way that I have believed that we can kind of get around that mess of things a little bit later. But she's probably my least favorite of these heroes here. So coming back up to the market, we've got Mend and Animate the Dead. So Animate the Dead is going to allow you to bring heroes back from the destroyed pile. Mend is having you discard cards, but then healing wounds. So again, they're not, they inflict chaos. They're not like Fireball, which is just a pure 3 damage that you're used to. Thunderstone Elixir gives you a nice option. Not only does it boost up your skill level, but it allows you to either gain a light source or heal 1 wound, unless you're at a certain level in Thavro's Lair, which would be round 7 or higher. Then you could do both. Plate armor's not that bad, except you have to it basically keeps you from having to discard cards like rooms and minions tell you to, but it costs a lot to just even put the plate armor on, which means then you may not be able to wield a weapon. Thunderstone Ore is basically just a handy thing to have. It's going to give you some gear tokens. The Maul is actually brought over from the base game, so we've seen that before. And then our 2 Thunderstone Rod and Keltarian Bow. I'm not that big on the Thunderstone Rod, but I'm going to have to put it in my deck if I have lists in my deck. So those are some of the interesting and new cards that will be added to the market if you're playing with this expansion. So now let's look at the heroes. All of these heroes come in the expansion, and these are some of my favorites here. First of all, I cannot say his first name, Hamrulir Oakenborn. Makes me think of Oakenshield. He's a dwarf, he's a fighter, and he likes rolling with blunt weapons, which the Thunderstone Rod is considered a blunt weapon, and the Maul is considered a blunt weapon. This is really what I want him to be wielding, but early on we'll deal with the Thunderstone Rod. But basically, his thing is that he's going to get additional keywords, so he can become a rogue if he's wielding a blunt weapon. So, like, for example, this room here, you need a rogue to get through it, or you lose a gear token. Here, again, you need a rogue or a spell. So, him with a blunt weapon becomes very handy in getting through these dungeons. Also, later on at his higher levels, he actually gains the static keyword if he is wielding a blunt weapon. So, we're obviously going to be putting a lot of these 2 in with him here. Static just basically means that he gets to stay out. He does not count against my hand size, and he basically is considered in my hand for the next turn. And if I just keep drawing and keep giving him blunt weapons to wield, then he just stays out as a level 2 or level 3 Oakenborn. So really nice hero here. Shanaris has a nice trick where she can, early on, if you gain a card, so you draw a card, or this even says including leveling, so if you level up your hero, you heal a wound. So she's a cleric character. Very handy. I love card draw. It's how to be successful in the game, in my opinion. So she's a healer that you benefit from drawing cards, but also later on, her powers allow you to purchase a card from the market and draw it immediately into your hand, which is absolutely nuts. Because you can see the perfect card and you'll be like, man, I wish I could use that right now. Well, she gives you the ability to do so. And last but not least, Castlech here. Both of these guys are the Urquian, which are kind of the new race introduced, and you'll see the keyword come up in some of the items. But Castlech basically wants to be paired up with the bow. Let me just remind myself what he likes to do. Oh, that's right. As a spoils ability, he can put a spell or a bow gain 1. Either on top of your deck. If you have a spell or wielding a bow, hold on, where was it? Put 1 bow or 1 spell on top of your deck. So if you've got him with a bow, you pair him up with a bow, then you can keep that bow and use it again the next time. So probably going to be seeing a lot of him. Well, we want to put the Oakenborn And the cleric, we want to put these two in here. So I guess Liss, oh, and he also gains the wizard keyword later on. So Liss and Kashlek will end up being up here. So we'll see. Not perfect synergy because, like I said, I want the Thunderstone weapon for her. He wants the bow. So, but yeah. Last thing I want to touch on, which is included in this expansion, are the two guilds I'll be playing with. Basically, this is having me get a cleric and a fighter and defeat a monster. And this one is a rogue wizard. They're just slightly different from the standard ones that come in the base game. And then my two, oh gosh, what are these things called? These two things. You know what these two things are called. Anyways, we've got the Thunderstone Savant and the Living Legends. Both of them basically allow me to upgrade by defeating monsters. This one wants me to have a card with Thunderstone in its title. This one just wants me to have level 1 or better heroes. So generally this guy's pretty easy to level up, but I'll also be showing off later on why this one's also easy to level up according to what I believe is I'm following the rules. So just to remind you, I have been playing a campaign, so I'm several chapters in here, so my deck is much bigger than my starting deck. There's about 4 or 5 cards added in there that you'll see in there later on once I play a little that aren't in the marketplace. So don't be surprised if you see something come out in my hand that isn't in the marketplace here. So for right now, I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to go ahead and play through the beginning opening rounds of this game just to get my deck built up, get rid of those adventures, get some of these more interesting heroes into my hand, and then once the turns start becoming more interesting, I'll bring you guys back so you can see some of the gameplay. Okay, so I am in the middle of round 4 here, and I just wanted to show off this one delve into the dungeon here because I think it could be very interesting. So I'm attempting to, as my lone wizard here, who I'm going to leave at this spot so I can remember that I sent her to the guild's quarter. I'm going to attempt to make it down here to the level 3 spot. You can see I have 4 basically monster levels I need to deal with. So I'm going to try and come down here and have one of my people address a level 3, and then the other one do a level 1. So what I've got here is there's 1 light, 2 light, and 3 light. So what that means is that I've got to come down this right side because these first 2 areas have 0 light respectively. Now when I move out of through this top room that you guys can't see, I am going to have to discard a gear token, which is unfortunate because it's an elixir, but I don't have any wounds to deal with that. So plus when I move out of that room, that enemy says I have to discard a card with Thunderstone in its title, which I can discard the Thunderstone piece. I will have already accumulated the light, and so the only thing, I'm not really losing anything at that point. Alright, so we've got the light covered. I know I can make it down here. More than likely this is going to be one where I'm going to be rolling some d6s, but again, I'm going to have a card with Thunderstone in its title even after I get rid of this one because of this particular card. This is the card I was talking about earlier that I wanted to show off. This is a spell that appeared in the first scenario and is in this expansion, and it's the Construct Protector spell. As a village action, you can gain 1 Thunderstone Protector from the box and draw it. Well, a Thunderstone Protector looks like this. Basically, you just play him down, but he has the static keyword. He's an ally and has a static keyword. Now, this bottom text basically says if I have 3 of them out in front of me or more, I can discard or destroy 3 of them to cancel out a wound. But what I really love is that these guys basically just stay in front of me, and I start building up an army of Thunderstone Protectors every time this card comes around. And I have strategically gone to the temple when I've had this in my hand to put it back on top of the pile so that I can draw it again. But these guys each are giving me basically 2 physical damage every turn. On top of the fact that the Thunderstone Savant's rank 1 ability says that for each card you have with Thunderstone in its title gains 1 magic damage. I have scoured BGG, and from what I understand and from what everyone else understands, that cards that are static are in your hand. They are something that you have. You have them in your hand. So these guys basically, right now I basically have 2 physical and 2 magic damage every turn unless I choose to discard them for some reason. So all that being said, I know I can make it down into the dungeon here. We don't know what we're going to fight, but I'm pretty sure I can handle it because basically I'm starting with 4. I'm going to play out my adventurer here, and I'm going to pair him with Bree. So he's now at 2, but he's also got 4 skill. That's going to allow me to play my Keltarian bow, which is -2 for humans, which my adventurer is a human. And this is going to allow me to ignore the first 2 physical armor that this creature might have. Alright, so now we are essentially 1, 2, 4, plus our original 4 is 8. I have a lone adventurer here who's just going to give me 9, and then a fireball, which was the very first card. I think anybody that plays the campaign and plays the first scenario claims the fireball as their first card they're going to carry over. So I am up to 12. So, counting the fact that these have Thunderstone in their title and they are in my hand, I have them right now, I'm pretty sure I'm only going to be after rolling a D6 twice, and worst he can do is 12. So I think I've got this covered, but let's flip this over and check out what we're up against. The Jorawar. All of these guys look like the Iron Giant. Okay, but as I suspected, I'm rolling 2 D6s. I don't have to roll a third. My spoils is if I have 5+, which I do, remember, because my Thunderstone protectors give me each 2, and my fireball gives me 3. So I'm going to be able to roll a D6 and gain that much additional. So let's just find out what our roll is here. A 2, so I've almost guaranteed a 5. So 7, we already established I had 12. I forgot I needed to technically discard this as I made my way down the dungeon, but it's neither here nor there. So I've officially defeated the Jorwar. I can remove these dice to know I don't have to deal with those. I'm going to be gaining at least 3 Thunderstone shards plus an additional D6 worth, and I rolled a 6. So I count these black ones as 5 to save space on my board. I'm going to have to take 2 wounds, unfortunately. There's no getting around that. And so I think this might be 2d6s equals physical and a shield. So this would really have been 14, but my Keltarian bow reduces 2, so it is 12. So I actually just barely defeated him. Whew. Okay, I hadn't noticed that, but we're good. We dealt with it. We got a lot of Thunderstone shards. We also get a treasure card, which is even more Thunderstone shards here. So I got Thunderstone shards for days. Alright. Not a big fan of the treasure cache cards. Okay. Best thing about this room is these spoils. I can level up 1 hero paying -3. Now, also from what I have read, that does not... that's in addition to me having gone to the guild's quarter here. So I can actually upgrade both of my... I don't think I can like upgrade and then upgrade again. So I'm just going to upgrade both of my heroes here. One of which I basically don't have to pay for. They're both going up to a level 1, so they both would cost me 2 to upgrade, but one is essentially free because of the spoils of this room. So let's go ahead and, yep, we're just going to keep things pretty even here. We'll take a Liss and a Kashlek, and these two adventurers go away. All right. Just so you guys can see what my other hand is looking like. This is one of the downfalls of having a starting deck that has additional cards. So I've got a short bow here that costs 4 to wield, a long sword here that costs 4 to wield, and a hammer. I had built out this deck to be like my fighter with all the weapons. So I've got Joba here, who I can pair up with my adventurer to give me 4. It'd be nice if I could play the dagger here to get a card draw, but unless I knew I was drawing an adventurer, this certainly is going to give me, any of these are going to give me a better, this technically can get me to 3 because I'm a human, but the dagger still needs 1. Nice one for rogues. So I don't think I want to risk having him wield the dagger and then be stuck with just the dagger. But let's look. I've got a 6 and a 5 with 2 physical, and I've got all physical damage here. So basically a 6 and a 7. Although the 6 is in a room where it's adding +1 magic damage. So they're both really 7, and right now I'm only able to get to 1, 2, 3 at best, and that's it. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, as I enter the dungeon here, I will wield my dagger. I still can have Joba here. And we'll draw a card. Okay. And it is Shenaris here. So after the first time, each turn you gain a card, including leveling, heal 1 wound. Well, I actually don't have any wounds to heal, so that's fine. You could argue that me claiming this card. Alright, but still, fortunately, she is not a rogue, or else she could have wielded the bow. But she can't wield any of this, so I'm still at 1, 2, 3, 4. So the best I can do is take on the giant rat, which will allow me to, Joba will allow me to level up 1 hero, and the giant rat will allow me to level up an adventurer. So that wasn't too bad. But I'm going to take my very first hit of the game here with this. So let's do the math here. I am going to need to pay 2 to upgrade this guy and 3 to upgrade this guy. So 5 total. That wipes me out. And I will be able to get a level 2 Shenaris, which you can see now, heal 1 wound, or you may buy 1 card from the marketplace and draw it. It's a beautiful card. And we will add us another Hamrulir Oakenborn. So these 2 guys are going to go away. That goes back there. And this goes back there. Let's go ahead and draw our 1 chit. And it is the Bazaar. Okay, I'm alright with the Bazaar. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit more, and we'll come back to show you guys some additional cool combos here. Forgot this is gone too. Alright. Alright, so we have made it into Thavros' lair here, or have access to his lair. I put 1 hit on him on the last turn. We're doing okay. I was able to draw 5 cards each, but I'm about as good as I can get here. My wizard is very powerful with 3 Thunderstone protectors out each round, basically each hitting for 8 total, 2 each. And I just realized I gained a legendary card that I am not Did not claim. Okay. Alright. Thunderstone on top of my deck. Yeah. We're good. Okay. Just trying to keep up with all of my various things. So everything has like 2. The temple has 3. Actually, the guild square only has 1. But we're just going to play out the next couple rounds, see if we can't take out Thavro and Anvilbane here in the next 2 rounds. So I have drawn up my hand at 5 each, and we need to roll some dice. Unfortunately, we are rolling 4 apiece now. I don't have any reroll capabilities, so I'm hoping for some decent rolls here. These are for the wizard. Okay, well, that's not good. Okay, that is decent because I can ignore one of these, so we'll leave that out. 1, I'm okay with 1, and a wound, which is not very exciting, but nothing I can do about it. Okay, so I will take my wound, and we address that die. This is going to stay out. I can ignore this based on my, what is that, 4th level. And this, I'm hoping if I can upgrade, then I can use my spoils to get rid of this. So we'll leave those out for now. That was for my wizard. This is now for my fighter. Okay, my fighter cannot ignore green yet, so we'll have to do that in a second. My fighter cannot ignore blue. 1 more is not bad. Come on, give me something good. And a purple. Okay, so this involves discarding a lot of cards. The green says I have to discard all my starter cards, which unfortunately was all my light. So these are 2 starter cards. Neither one of them are a weapon though, so I don't have to take any additional wounds. So this die has been addressed. Blue and purple are the same. You may destroy 1 non-starter, non-wound card if you do gain 1 starting dagger. Gosh. I'm really kind of hamstringing myself here. I guess I will destroy Mend. Just put that back on the pile. I don't want to destroy another card though, so this is going to have to become a 3 spot. So I'm adding 5 to his health. So he's essentially at a 15. So probably not going to be able to hit him twice this round, but I think I'll be able to hit him once if I can accrue enough light, which is the question. Okay. So before we consider where we're going to go, let's count up our light and see if we have 5 to get there. This one is worth 2, and that's it because I had to get rid of shed all my other light. This one is worth 1, so I'm at 3, and my fighter has 4. So somebody needs to pick up a lantern as part of their action here. Alright, I feel like I need all of these cards. Okay, so the wizard is going to go here so they can heal twice, and I am actually going to put the mend card back on top of my hand because I don't have to discard a card. Okay, and so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna hold on to my mend card. So, 4 money I could spend. I mean, I guess we'll throw in another Animate the Dead. Just because it's a chaos spell. Okay. Alright, and then over here, I've got... So this is the person who's going to have to buy another lantern. I have 2, and I have a bread that I'll spend to purchase a lantern. I can actually go to the guild's quarter, and my speciality allows me to visit the bazaar as well. So we have enough light now. We have established that. So I'm going to trade in my 2 lanterns. I've got enough light. So let's address some of the cards we have to do as we enter the dungeon here. Liz here, who is our Chaos Master, I have to put a card back. So I'm going to take Mend now and shuffle Mend back in. And now I have to shuffle my deck and discard 2 cards off my deck, hoping that one of them is either a Chaos card or has Thunderstone in its title. So let's see what 2 cards we get. Alright, perfect. Construct Protector is actually amazing. Probably one of the best cards I could have drawn. So, I'm good. I don't have to take an additional wound. I now have a Chaos spell. I already did because I have Animate the Dead. So, she's actually at a level 3. So unfortunately, I've already taken my village phase, so adding my Thunderstone Protector is going to have to be a spoils action. I also gained a light, but it's too late. So my Animate the Dead here is, since she is a 3, now I can, is lower than one of your clerics or wizards. So I can grab a level 2 hero from the discard pile. If I choose her, then I'm having to shuffle a card back in. I don't want to shuffle my Construct Protector. I don't want to shuffle that one back in either. I guess technically, if okay, so I think I could do this. I think I can claim this and then shuffle 1 card into your deck. I think I can shuffle then animate into my deck because I've already used it. So now we have 2 level 2 lists out. I just need to remember that one of them is going to have to go back because I got rid of my card. Alright, that's not one. And that's not one. So both these are going to go away, and I do have to take a wound now. So that's the chaos that she ensues. Alright. Okay. But we are at 6 now. Remember, I have to get to 10 plus 1, 15. And honestly, right now I've got 3, 6, and 8 is 14. Even if you throw in the 3 to get to 18, that's 17. I can bring in Oakenborn here. So I clearly have enough to defeat the enemy. I've got rogue keywords, so I don't have to destroy any gear tokens. Not that I had any. Nothing here. So let us address our spoils here. First of all, I'm going to remember to put her back into the destroyed pile. My Thunderstone piece, I went in as a party, allowed me to heal that 1 wound, but then I'm taking 2 each here. So that's going to mean I'm only drawing 4 cards each on this last turn, which could stink. I am, however, getting a fair amount of shards there. These 2 guys, all of this is going to go back into my hand. I am going to, however, get to add a Thunderstone Protector to my lineup, which is definitely going to help in the next round. I now have 10, essentially. 10 damage. Alright, and I can easily, I did 7 damage, so this 5 goes away. And I can spend 9 of my 13 to level up myself, and as a spoils, remove this. I don't know if, you know, the timing of all that is legal, but I'm going to say it is. And so I have 4 left that I can spend here. And I even went so far, no, I actually didn't do that. Okay. Did I do that? Yes. So I could go so far as to wipe out all my money, but I have now fully upgraded my Thunderstone Savant. The last one says, before rolling dice, discard 0 or more cards with Thunderstone in the title to roll fewer dice equal to the number discarded. So that's an interesting trick. Kalesh allows me to put this back on top of my deck because it's a spell, which is beautiful. And I went to the Guild's Quarter so I can upgrade Hammerrill Oakenborn to a level 2. Not that I will probably see him again, because I'm thinking one last thing. I forgot to add my wound to Thavro here. So I just need 1 more wound to defeat him, and I needed to spend 3 to upgrade him there. Okay. All right. So I believe we are all caught up. Let's go ahead and enter round 11 here and draw up our measly 4 cards apiece. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Do I have any breeze? No. I got some gems of healing in each hand, which is helpful. All right. So the question is, all right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to, more than likely, I'm not going to be able to make use of my Thunderstone Annihilator, which is unfortunate because it would just be massive, but I have nobody to wield it. So here's 1 card. So I now only have to roll 3. I'm also going to discard a Thunderstone Protector. Not destroy it, but discard it. So now I'm only having to roll 2 for my wizard. It's a purple and one of those. I can get rid of that at the end. The purple, I have to, you may destroy 1 non-starter card. Okay. I am actually okay with destroying Mend. So I have addressed that. Alright. So I have a tiny little hand. This is my hand. But we didn't really do too much here to boost Thavros. So these are for the, let me put these guys back. This is for the fighter. Green, we can't miss that yet. Ooh, +1 card draw. So let's go ahead and draw that. Ooh, I just drew a Bree. And take a wound. Okay, and this says discard all starter cards, which would just be Bree. I'm actually okay with that. So this has now been addressed. So we're actually doing okay, because this is just really worst case 14 that we have to get to, and I'm going to be hitting for 10 just with my Thunderstone Protectors. The question is, am I going to be able to get down there? I've got 1, 2, 3. Nope, so we're each going to have to go to the bazaar, which we can do, and do some purchasing. So let's start with our wizard, who has to go to the bazaar. She will draw a card here, and we will do our Thunderstone Protector. So we're back up to 5 Thunderstone Protectors. And I have 1 plus 3 is 4 money. So exactly what I need for my token here. Because luckily the card I drew was Kazlesh, who's an Urkween, and my Construct Protector spell gives me plus coin equal to the level of an Urkween. So that got me exactly what I needed. Okay, and I can basically heal 2. Okay, so I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we technically can go to the temple just in case here. So I'm actually going to be healing for 3, being able to draw a card. I drew a starting dagger, which isn't that exciting, but it's all right. Okay, so let's see. I have to give up my lantern, but I now know I have 5. I have a rogue in this hand, and let's see, it has +1 in the rogue wielding a blunt weapon. I'm not wielding a blunt weapon, but I don't have any gear tokens to get rid of, so I can make it down here without any problem. And I'm pretty sure I'm okay. So Kazlesh here is just adding 3 to my 10 for my Thunderstone Protectors. Remember, if I get to 14, it's game over. So there is 16. Yeah, I mean, even these guys right here that's 10. That gets me to him, plus his extra here, but my Thunderstone Protectors are pushing me way over the edge. Yeah, I had to use that for light. I don't need the skill. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We have successfully defeated Thavro Anvilbane. Let's just, for thematic, put on his final wound here. So, moving forward, since I was successful in this scenario, I will choose a card to carry forward. If you have any suggestions as to what card you feel like from the market I should take, please let me know in the comment section. I can always swap it out. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you like this kind of abbreviated playthrough style, also please let me know in the comment section below. Or do you prefer, a much longer full playthrough? So either way, hopefully this was helpful in showing off the Clockwork Destiny expansion for Thunderstone Quest. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.